There is no John Henry. We each kind of built some houses separately going back probably like 1992.
1992.
Yeah, I'll be 29 next year.
Yeah.
So we're working with Fortune 500 companies. We've got really good choices, but they're limited with really good vendors. Biggest frustration we've had really since COVID is getting those little things knocked out. I would rather lose a sale telling you to expect 10 or 11 months for a build process than a lot of my competition loves to tell you 6 months to build a house.
Yeah.
Learning that is probably the most important part, and then knowing that your builder is going to be here after the fact.
Welcome back to Breaking Ground by Euler Hines. Again, we are your local new construction marketing and real estate firm. We specialize in all things new construction, new homes, building, different builders, developments, you name it. That's why we are here. And today we actually got to sit down with Josh Blatt of John Henry Homes. Yes, his name's not in John Henry, but we dive into what that means, where they came up with the name, how him and his brother worked together. He's been doing this for just over 3 decades, so he's a wealth of knowledge. We've had the luxury of working with him for a number of years in the infill markets like Madeira, Montgomery, Blue Ash, and surrounding areas. He has new developments coming out. He's a little different than most because he's one of the larger builders building 40 to 50 homes a year, but he's able to take that more of a production mentality and deliver some customized homes that are really truly special, hit different price points, and deliver a little bit more square footage than most people out there, most builders out there. So without further ado, let's meet Josh Blatt of John Henry Homes. All right, y'all, welcome to the next episode of Breaking Ground. I'm here with a friend, a colleague, a builder we work with a lot, Josh Blatt of John Henry Homes. Josh, what's going on, man?
Oh, Mike,
Let's do a better handshake than that.
All
That was
right.
my fault. There we go. There we go. We'll go with this. I've known Josh for a long, long time. In fact, most of our team's known you for a while. I'm really proud to call you a friend because we've gotten to do a lot together. But you know, we have these episodes because I know you, and I know we get to deal with each other. I mean, weekly, if not daily. But I don't think our audience always gets to know the people behind it. In fact, if you look at John Henry Homes, they might think your name is John Henry. Yeah. So with that being said, the case, before you give an introduction of who you are, I want to ask you a question. What do you think the most important aspect of building a home here in Cincinnati, or really anywhere, is? Put you on the spot.
It's a tough question. Mm-hmm. The most important thing, I think, is picking the right, picking the right builder is obviously important. Mm-hmm. Picking a builder that you trust, that you spend a lot of time with the builder and mm-hmm. a lot of choices, and it's especially if you're building from the ground up. Yeah, it's a long relationship.
Sure is.
So you want to pick somebody that you trust, who you like, who you're comfortable with, mm-hmm. Who you can communicate with.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of other aspects, but in terms of obviously the location, the floor plan, they're all important.
It all adds up.
But in the process, assuming that when you're making that decision, mm-hmm. you found a location you want to be in, and you have a floor plan that fits your family's needs. Mm-hmm. Once you're at that point, if you've got to have a builder that you like, that you trust, that you're confident with, because, and I think the biggest mistake a lot of people do is they don't do their research about the builder, about their accessibility. I think a part of the misconception, I think the hard part is is the Google reviews or type of things are a bad resource because they don't really give you a holistic picture. I think people talking to existing customers of that builder and learning their process, that no builder is perfect, sure. But learning about the builders, how the builder communicates, mm-hmm. And their how the process is going to, their team members and mm-hmm. things like that. Mm-hmm. Learning that is probably the most important part. And then knowing that your builder is going to be here after the fact. Yeah. No house is perfectly built. Yeah. And knowing in the longevity, over the time we've been in this business, I've seen more builders disappear. Than,
totally right.
And which is mind-boggling is I think about how many builders that we've known or that we've seen that have
came and went, right?
They just disappear. They're the newest thing on the block, and they seem great, and they got this new story and this new way of doing it, and then 2, 3, 4 years later, they're gone. And
that didn't. It should have crossed my mind. It didn't, because I mean, the builders that have come and go. I mean, this is a hard business.
It's a hard business.
I think you learn a lot, and the longer you've been in it, the more you can know, mainly from mistakes, right, in the past. Why don't we dive in there too, just about John Henry Homes? So obviously, I know you all. We have the pleasure of working with you guys on a routine basis, but explain kind of the essence of who John Henry is, where you came from, you work with your brother. Any highlights that you think are important for anybody listening?
So there is, to your point to start with, there is no John Henry.
No.
There is a John Henry.
Yeah.
But my first name is Henry, and my brother is John, although he spells it Jon, not John, which is the company's John. We started in, we each kind of built some houses separately, and going back probably like 1992.
1992.
Yeah.
You're dating yourself. People know how old you are.
I'm old.
Now.
I'm old.
Yeah, you're 28 now?
Yeah. I'll be 29 next year.
Yeah.
So
when the
companies, we're in our 33rd year. But my brother built a house in Independence, Kentucky, had success. I built a house in Liberty Township, actually Westchester Township, a subdivision called Running Deer Estates.
Okay.
And I wanted to build another one. And so my brother and I decided to build one together. And we called ourselves J. Henry. And the reason we came up with John Henry is originally we were J. Henry, and I don't know why, but there was at that time Henry Fisher Builders. Fisher Homes was Henry Fisher Builders.
Okay.
There was another builder, which I think is the Gallensteins, was called Henry Homes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so
right?
You could just imagine in the mail that bills were getting mixed, subs that were getting confused as to between the too many Henrys. So we changed ours to John Henry.
I like it.
That's why we did it. And then I think whoever did the initial logo spelled John's name wrong, and it looked good. So here
you kept it. Yeah,
we kept it, and it works well. But we get people show up in our office half the time. They'll be asking for Mr. Henry. They talk to Mr. Henry on the job site, and Mr. Henry said to call them, and
that's how you always know.
We always know it's a cold. We always know it's a cold call.
Yes, that makes it fun that way too. You're like, all right, we can hang up the phone now with this person. So obviously, we call you Josh Blatt, but your real name is Henry.
My first name's Henry. First name's Henry.
So can we go back even further? Because I know your dad obviously was in the real estate business beforehand a little bit. I think that's really, obviously I work with my father. You get to work with my dad as well. You've known him longer than you've known me. But tell us a little bit about your dad, because I know obviously that background there.
So my dad built apartments going back, I think he started probably in the 50s, building fourplexes, and he would sell them. And then at some point he decided to start renting them out, and ended up building a nice business of rental properties. We've done a little bit of building with him, where we've built some stuff together. But it's.
But you guys started early.
We were exposed to construction sites early on. I worked on a construction site when I was in college for the summer. It's hard work. Learned.
It is.
It's we got to be super early, long days. You're tired at night.
Oh yeah. And I think our parents treat us the hardest as kids. At least I feel like that's how I learned. Is like I remember getting a weed whip, and 9 hours later they'd come pick me up. They'd drop me off, and then they'd say, "Here's your bottle of water. Here's your bottle of gas. Here's a little lunch, and then I'll pick you up." And wow. I mean, I think it's nice having kind of a mentor, or at least people that are in the business you can lean on. We've been fortunate on that kind of front.
Your dad was fun to watch. He was really that generation of land developers. Like your dad and Tommy Humes and Bob Ryan and Don Mizrak. They don't really exist anymore. The creativity, like the communities that they were developing. I mean, from the golf courses that your dad did to Long Cove, which Bob did. Some of the stuff that Tommy Humes has done, but nobody's really doing that. Kind of developer doesn't exist anymore.
No, they're big swings back then, remember? Because you could make those now. Now the ground's so expensive and the opportunity's so different. It's just changed.
And you had the ability to, now most of the developments are done by the builders. Where coming really out of the financial crisis of 2008 to 2012, the merchant developer really kind of disappeared.
It's changed. The economics of it all has changed. Well, and let's talk about that, because you develop as well.
Yeah.
To obviously create some supply for you, so you're kind of exactly what you're talking about. But how many homes do you all build on a yearly basis? And talk about different price points, because it varies quite a bit, right?
So our goal, we like that range of between 40 and 60 houses a year, and we don't. The nice thing about being a private builder is we're not, some of the big builders are bound to Wall Street, and they have numbers they have to hit. They have to sell so many houses. We can look and find we're driven by finding locations that we like, where we think there's a need for housing, and where the pricing is in line with the market. So that really drives our decision making. But we're guys 40 to 60. We have a couple different price ranges. We do really well. We've got a upper level, entry level market house, and the reason I say that is there's entry level, which is just
bare bones,
bottom of the barrel, no decisions. It's here's what we have to offer you. Take it or leave it. We go a little bit higher than that, where we're giving a little bit of options, a little bit of flexibility, but it's a little bit more expensive.
Sure.
We're also trying to be a little bit more particular about the location, where some of these truly entry level, and there's nothing wrong with it. They serve an important,
of course,
it's an important segment in the market, but we're not trying to play at the very bottom of the market. It's just a purely price-driven commodity type of product, and we're trying to be a little bit more than that.
Sure.
And then we'll go as high as $1.5 million. Obviously, we're doing with you guys. We're having great success with you and your dad and your brother on the teardowns in Montgomery, Blue Ash, Madeira, and we love that market. We feel that and we saw this years ago, where we felt that there's a lot of aging housing stock, where these houses are completely obsolete. And I'm talking, these houses aren't even, a lot of them, the houses we're tearing down are not, you see them.
No, they're in rough shape.
They are not livable. And really a lot of them are beyond the point where you can't even remodel them. And we felt like we're looking in areas where, you've got great schools, they're infill, so it's close to downtown, close to jobs, close to shopping, restaurants. And we really like that segment of the market, but obviously that's pushing price a lot. So we're anywhere from, I think we started out there. I think our first sale there was probably in the 500s.
It was
and now,
quickly elevated.
And now I don't think we can do anything for maybe in the 8s, but it's pushing 8 and up. But
it's interesting. It's not like you're making more money on any of these houses, right? It's just sheer costs. It's going upwards as far as that goes. I mean, and then who knows? We're sitting here in 2025. Obviously, maybe it'll go up from here. You don't really know. It seems like that, though, right?
And that's the question everybody's trying to get to wrap their hands around.
Well, I mean, we hope. I mean, because really, unfortunately, cost does have to be passed on to the client, mainly because you wouldn't be able to stay in business to build homes. These profit margins keep getting smaller and depleted more and more and more. But regardless of all that, you do serve, like you said, a couple different markets, right? And you have product that matches what you're selling in different areas. So you have the step up, move up buyer, right? And then you have in these infill markets, these specialty buyers that are looking for teardowns and new builds. You fit a really big need in these markets, because if you find a $300,000 or $400,000 lot, normally we used to say 20 to 25% lot ratio to the house, right? So if you buy a $250,000 house, it's going to be at least $1 million plus. You're able to hit that $1 million mark, where a lot of other builders now are at that $1 million, $3, $4, $5 right out of the gate, where you can be a little bit more efficient, use kind of what you do on the other product type, but still build a really quality home at that next price up. So why don't we dive in there a little bit, talk about kind of what you're doing in Madeira and Montgomery. We know they're teardowns. But you've created a whole package just for those buyers, right?
And it's a delicate balance. And I think this is where we have to really educate our buyers in terms of, you've been in conversation with me where I'll tell a buyer, we're not a custom builder.
Yes.
And I think it's to hit that price point and keeping that 25% in line. And look, going back to your first question, we've been here for 32 years.
Yes.
And you want a builder that's going to be around, that you can trust, that is picking your builder is important. So we've narrowed the options down in terms of what our, our suppliers can readily get. The pricing is reliable, and that's from your tile to your cabinets to your carpet. That where we're not giving the customer the opportunity to go to pick each one of these from different vendors, where the pricing is all over the place. We've got really good choices, but they're limited with really good vendors. So we're working with Fortune 500 companies. We're working with Shaw for carpeting, which is one of the largest suppliers of carpet in the world.
Yes,
I think they are actually the largest. We're working with Aristocraft, which is owned by Master Brands, which is the largest cabinet manufacturer in the world. And so each of those things, we've been able to take products that look good, that are well made, and give our customers good options. So like in the houses we're using with you, we're using I think the second to third at the top of the line for the Aristocraft cabinets with Winstead, which is the full overlay cabinet.
Absolutely.
It's a really good looking cabinet. It fits the needs of what most buyers look for, but we're taking out versus we're able to control that cost versus if they go to a cabinet supplier, that same looking cabinet would be a custom cabinet and would probably be 3 times more than the price.
Without a doubt, yes.
But we're still we've got great options. We're giving options with quartz countertops, with tile options. We've brought a lot of different tile choices and things like that. But again, they're all preset with pricing, so we know what we can do and we can't do.
Absolutely.
And there's also the other challenge you run into, which is what people don't really think about when building a house. And going back to this question of and if somebody wants a custom house, we're not the builder because some of those options, the trades that you're using to do the work are different. And for instance, when I built my own personal house, I used a lot of custom faucets and things like that. And our vendors, there's some stuff in that it's that you don't use. It's a lot of details that you have to think through that's different from where the cabinet sits, or not the cabinet, where the bowl for the vanity sits, to the faucet, the height, these little minutia that you wouldn't normally think about. So what we're doing is we've taken all that stuff out to products that we know our vendors know, and that we're able to deliver reliably without the unpredictability.
Without going to, and you, because I think put it a different way, like you know what you are and you know what you aren't, right?
Yes.
I think that's the key. Is like so many builders want to be everything to everybody. That's not you. So when somebody comes in and they have this just these thoughts of just a huge grandeur home that they're customizing, every single detail is picked out, that might not be the right fit.
Right.
However, 90% of buyers, it fits within a certain number of certain lane, right? Which is most of the people we're talking to. It can happen faster, it can happen more efficiently at a better cost and price point, and still be a damn nice home. Like you walk in, you'd have no idea that it was simpler to get through that process versus having to pick every single detail out.
Most of the time when you walk through a house, what you're really noticing are just the details, that it's the style of the cabinet, not who made the cabinet. It's the backsplash in there. Those are the things you remember.
The light
the change, which is what change we made with you, is where we brought in, like for instance, that was an easy change where in some of the higher end houses, the customers didn't like our light fixtures.
Yeah, exactly.
So we adjusted and we've worked out a system with our supplier where they can pick their own lights, and it's not affecting our ability. They're still within the manufacturer that we're using, in the line that our electrician can install, that we can reliably deliver on without hurting the process.
Sure. Well, and the beauty of it is too, your team as well, is like you have a team that they allow people some flexibility within there, right? You have your design studio and you can meet with your selection coordinator to go through everything. And there's,
she's better than she's a decorator. She is a decorator. She is a paid decorator. Yes. And the tension we have when people can't schedule with her is because she's actually a very sought after, popular decorator.
That is absolutely true. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry I undermined it. That is true. She's fantastic. And we're not using her by name, but right now
we do. One of the things that we do, and I think is different, is we pay for every person, whether it's an entry-level house or our most expensive house, we have a professional decorator that we are paying for them to work with to help them make those colors. And I think that's really something that sets us apart from other builders, because other builders have the design centers, but it's a profit center. Sure. Ours is, we have them because we need a place where they can make their choices. Yeah. But having a professional decorator helps them, because we found that people really, at the end, most people pick fairly neutral colors. Sure. But it's a even picking neutral colors. We find that people get a little stressed out about it. Yeah. And having that professional decorator who's able to walk them through and understands how furniture is going to lay out, how window treatments are going to lay out, how cushions are going to lay out, all those little pieces, how it can all tie together is a really valuable thing for our customers.
I completely agree. And I think that's so important, because that's the part that's most overwhelming, right? Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of things to worry about along the way, but if somebody's there to guide you and hold your hand, it makes you feel more comfortable. Yeah. And then changing gears for a second is you have obviously a site supervisor and a contractor that specializes in the areas we focus, but you have good quality folks all across the board as far as that goes. So then somebody doesn't have to play, I think, which is the biggest challenge with a custom home builder or even a small builder that builds, just inexpensive homes. You have one person that's everything to everybody. And I think the difference for you are not a massive company, but you're, on the larger side locally, right? So you get the chance to actually build and have people focus and stay in lane so they can be experts at what they do, which is really nice. I think that's not, most companies aren't like that locally, right? Until you get up to the Fisher and the Drees and the larger section on that.
No, we've got good people in place. And one of the things we do, which obviously you come to our meetings, we've got a customer coordinator. So pretty much after contract, we've got a single point of contact for our customers. So if they're, hey, what do I do here? What's this? What's going on? What's going on with my house? What do I do about my financing? They can call our customer coordinator, and she will be their single point of contact. It's kind of like concierge of resolving that issue, and she will be the person who follows up with them.
Yes.
And she will be responsible for reaching out whoever in our organization or whoever the lender is to get that information and get it back to them to be sure their questions get answered.
Yes.
Same thing. We have the same thing post-closing, which is we have the warranty coordinator. So we like to give our customers a single point of contact. But each house has a job supervisor, and our supervisors have been with us for a long time, and who we've got the Friday phone calls we do with the customers to give them the update. And now it's not, by the way, we still call it the Friday phone call.
Yeah.
But in the era of era of text messages and email and stuff, each customer kind of tells the supervisor how they like to be communicated with.
Yes.
But the bottom line is we're communicating with our customers. Our site supervisors communicate with the customer at least once a week, giving them update what's going on in the house, what happened that week, what they hope to happen the next week.
Sure. Well, and I'll give a shout out to Adam, obviously, in your team. He does a great job. He was a custom builder himself before he came to join you all. But you mentioned this is like, hey, you guys have been around for 30 years. You're not going anywhere anytime soon. I think that's really important because some teams get bigger and smaller and they have these ebbs and flows. You guys have remained pretty much steady the time that I've known you, which is really nice because it means you're not sacrificing any quality along the way based on the number of homes you do. You're just offering the same level of service throughout. And I think it's really important because unfortunately, if it's one person running the entire show and that person gets pulled in a different direction, then you might be there, meaning the client might be there and struggling because they're not getting answers back.
Yeah. And we like to, I think both my brother and I like to get to know our customers. And I think that's another thing that sets us apart from most builders. Are they going to call us and are we going to be there answering their question every day of the week? No, we're not. But they're going to meet us probably at some point in the permit phase, sometime between contract and before the house starts, when we usually pop into the selection appointment and introduce ourselves. They'll see us on the job. They will see us on the job sites.
Yes.
And we both really make an effort to. We can't get to every closing, but we do try to make a point to be at the office during closings, to come in and thank the customers and say hello. And I think it's very rare that a customer doesn't meet one of us, if not both of us.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's really cool because you and John are there. I mean, anytime I go over there, you guys are there. You're still and let's actually talk about that because you're more on the front end sales side and your brother's more on the building side, right? Would that be fair? And I know you guys overlap a little bit, but talk about how that kind of works as far as the company goes.
So, I mean, we both understand both elements of the business, of course, and we felt that just there's too much overlap just from clarity of decision making. There just needed to be one person in charge of one, wanted to be in charge of the other. So we just kind of laid it out. But we're both very knowledgeable about both ends of the business. But he deals with most of the day-to-day construction issues. And I deal with most of the front end with the product design and the specs and the pricing and things like that.
Well, what's funny is your brother is a better paddleball player that I've seen than you are.
You haven't seen me play.
I know, so I have to assume he's better than you are. I know you're a better runner, probably. He is, I'm guessing.
He said no.
Is he good?
John was a 3:15 marathoner.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, John was a.
Is he still out there?
No,
running?
he hurt himself. He did a little overuse. But no, John was good.
Run pretty hard.
I'm going to guess I would probably be a better. Give me a week to figure out how to play paddle, and I think I'm probably a better player than he is.
He is on Division 6
I'm a pretty solid tennis player. So
all right, that's why I figured I'd just get a little rise out of you by saying that kind of stuff. We'll get out there and play a little bit and stuff like that. Yeah, well, it's funny. We were just talking.
We're gonna have the next session for this will be on the paddleboard.
Carolina, you could film us being out there.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
With these lights, can we get these lights out there? And
we could do it. We'll do it as Wii tennis or what the stuff, the games my kids play. We were just joking a little bit because where Josh lives, we had the Indian Hill Conquer the Hill run the other day, and I ran right by Josh's house. But of course, he wasn't there to give us any water as we were running by doing the 5K.
But we did arrange to have a water stop down the street for you, though.
This is true. You did.
3 doors down, there was a water stop.
I'm just busting too many chops right now.
I know, it's all right.
Yeah. So let's dive into, let's go into some fun stuff real quick. Because you guys did, I mean, I don't know how many decades ago, the Extreme Home Makeover, didn't you? You did that where you built a house
almost
in no
20
time.
years
Yeah,
ago.
you're still probably stressed out because it was a lot of work and effort. But tell the folks about that, because that's pretty cool. I know I see the poster when I go in your office every day.
So the show is still online. It's on YouTube. And we were, I think, the 41st show that they did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, you know, these TV shows, there's a rhyme or reason to what they pick. And it's not necessarily the family.
Yeah.
But they picked a house that was between the Cincinnati Media Market and Lexington, right on the border, so it would be covered. They won't tell you this, but it would be covered by 2 media markets.
Should we talk to Ty Pennington? Is that who
This
it was?
is Ty Pennington. Ty Pennington
okay
was
sharing these insider knowledge.
Yeah, he was Ty was just the talent.
I know.
But anyway, we were
Hammer. No, I was kidding.
There was a family in need where the husband had was a retired police officer, and he had he get migraines from lights, who lived in their basement, and his wife had leukemia, I think, and she couldn't be in the basement because it was moldy. So they were the storyline was they were living separately. Sure. And they needed to get a house with where they could be together. Yeah. So we were selected by them to build the house, and we built a house in we built the house in 4.5 days.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. They rained from the minute the show started, when they were doing the whole ceremony to get there, the demo ceremony. It unleashed a storm like I've never seen. And where you can imagine, we're in the country, we're far from everywhere. It is raining and raining and raining. And we've got 4 days to build the house.
Oh my gosh.
Somehow, like you've seen the picture in our office with the plumber standing outside, and their boots are this deep in mud. It's crazy. So we end up delivering the keys to them, and the family gets a house on a Thursday. And I come back the next day for we have stuff. We have so much stuff out there. I mean, you got to bring a lot of resources out there.
Everything's there.
Coming back out there, and their entire crew, and this crew is like a circus. You know, they got tents everywhere, buses everywhere. You know, they got a tent where they're cooking and stuff, and the entire crew is still out there. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? I thought you guys had another show to do. Like, yeah, we were sure you guys weren't going to be ready, so they put another crew on the next.
Oh, did they really? So they just hang out.
They didn't think the weather was so bad. They didn't think we were going to finish the house.
Yeah.
But it was a fun experience. You know, and they talk about logistics and organization. Just you have time to plan ahead, but we had to work with multiple subs, multiple suppliers, multiple people in the house at the same time.
Sure, you're just stepping over each other.
And people were working 24/7. You know, the roofers are on there at night. And it's funny. I still see people tell me who worked on the house, but it was a crazy experience. It was a fun experience. Our subs and suppliers stepped up like nobody's business. Yeah. I think everybody went to kill everybody else when the show was during the show. I mean,
of course,
you have 4 hours of no sleep.
Well, it's funny to think
I was doing
that.
it with a 3-month-old at home.
Yeah, so. That's a brave man. That's it. Yeah. Who was it? Ethan? Ethan who's now at college now, right?
Now 19,
going over to OSU now, right?
He's going to be a Buckeye.
Yeah, come on. There we go. We know he's destined to be. But I mean, it's funny when you say that too on job sites, because some contractors get frustrated when there's one other discipline out there, right? So it's funny because you probably have 7 at a different time at any given time there working on that house. So it's
funny you talk about that. Like if you go back, we talk about this, how when we're scheduling, you used to have 3 subs in a house at any given time.
Sure.
And now, I can't be there when somebody else is there. I can
smell him. He's over there.
He's over there. They're on my way. It's just, it's funny how that's just changed, because you used to be able to build a house so fast because you could have 3 or 4 subs at one time. And they could work around, and there was, they all knew each other. There's a lot of comradeship between them. And that does not exist anymore.
I think it'd probably be an understatement to say things have changed, right?
Things have changed.
And everything's more expensive. It's harder to talk. Well, actually, let me turn this into a question, because maybe not. What are the top 2 or 3 issues you deal with on a day-to-day basis that a client might not otherwise know? Maybe they understand it because they read a headline. What do you think you face?
So an interesting carryover from COVID, probably the biggest carryover from COVID. And so you've mentioned cost increases a lot, and everybody's experienced this from going to the grocery store, just the little things. Nothing's $1 anymore, right? Whether you go to get a Starbucks or whatever it is, everything has gotten really expensive. So we've seen is when there's little things that need to get done in the house, and it's probably the most frustrating thing customers will experience in the building process.
Sure.
The little things that used to be so easy, where a light fixture is not hung, it's missing a part. There's one little thing that just needs to be adjusted. It used to be so easy that the subs or the vendors would come out and do that very quickly. They'd usually be out there the next day. They'd do on their way to another stop. Now, the cost for them to come out to make, just to hang a single light fixture,
the simplest
to fix, a door, to drop off a part, there's a cost that's fairly significant just to show up. And they're also looking at the trade-off for them to show up and do that versus where they can be somewhere else. So probably the biggest frustration we've had really since COVID is getting those little things knocked out. And we're working now, we're using more outside handymen and punch out people who've got skills to do that, where a lot of times they're doing that versus the sub that's supposed to be doing it.
I see.
But there's still times where you need, if it's plumbing, if it's electric, if it's HVAC,
the technical skill set.
You want that person doing it, because you also want to be careful not to void their warranty or affect something that they've done.
Makes a lot of sense. It's funny because I'm sure those companies, just like all of us, we're all looking for efficiencies and to be, keep quality control, but try to get as much done as you can. And unfortunately, that causes issues because the house, it's hard to have everything complete by the time they leave to go on the next one. What else? Is there anything else you're seeing out there from a standpoint of just from a client's perspective that they should be aware of?
So I think that buyers probably right now really need to pay attention to where our biggest thing that we're concerned about right now is material availability. And I think you can turn on the news, you're seeing headlines about empty store shelves and things like that. And no one knows where it's going to come from. But I think our concern is, a lot of the products we're using, most of our vendors over the past 5 years have moved their manufacturing to countries with favorable trade with the United States, where 10 years ago, most of them were doing manufacturing in China. Our concern is a part for a furnace, a part for an appliance or something like that, just one little part affecting the entire. That's what we saw before, when there was the chips and for the cars.
Oh, sure, of course.
All the cars,
it's always one little thing.
The chips. So we're worried about that affecting the availability of parts that are necessary to get to completion of the house.
To the COs of a home.
To get to the COs. And just like during COVID, you don't know where the material shortages are going to come from. If you have them, there's so many parts and pieces to. Like you go back to, in COVID, where the manufacturer that made the pigments for the paint was in Houston, Texas.
When the fire happened down there.
You had to freeze.
The freeze, that was what it was.
All of a sudden you couldn't get the pigments. All of a sudden paint wasn't even on the radar of anybody's.
It was a Sherwin-Williams plant or something like that. It was
everybody.
All of them?
They were all getting their pigment from this plant.
Okay.
So those are the things right now we're really concerned with, how the tariffs and how all this economic uncertainty is going to affect supply chain and where it's going to come from. We're talking to all of our vendors. We're asking them. We're watching about what's going to happen with pricing. We're very concerned about price spikes. Right now, we've seen some price increases, nothing in realm with what we expected, which is good. I can tell you.
Wood to knock on.
But I can tell you, we talked to. We're in a couple different trade groups. We've got a lot of friends in the industry, and we're talking to our suppliers. We have contacts at most of the manufacturers we work with, and we're almost every day having conversations about things we should be concerned about, and what problems they see in timing. So right now, everybody's assuring us things are okay for right now.
Well, and I think one thing you harp on when I'm on those calls with you on a weekly basis is you thinking ahead. Like you challenge your team to always be thinking ahead. I think that's what really it makes a good builder, is like problem solving and understanding what's the problem that's going to be around the corner that you're not thinking of yet. And it's not easy because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's coming around there, but I think that's important. And I think when it comes to building a home, like having a team of people that have been around it, seen it, know what to expect, that's worth the weight in gold. If somebody's new, they may make mistakes because they don't know what there is to look at, what problem they're going to face in the future.
And one thing about me is I like to set low expectations. But I say that facetiously. But I don't. I caution everybody who works for us: don't set false expectations. I would rather lose a sale telling you to expect 10 or 11 months for a build process then a lot of my competition loves to tell you 6 months to build a house. You're not getting a house in 6 months.
Sure, exactly.
Especially if they're, if it's an entry-level house by one of the big production builders, it's doing it 100% their way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, exactly. But we know the quality of the house that's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're not getting a house in 6 months. And people love to throw that number out there.
Sure.
And well, Josh, I can't say that everyone else is saying this. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I would rather tell people what's going to happen than have the disappointment that's coming down the line. So at least when people come in, they have clear expectations.
Sure.
And we'll talk. We talk up front about the risk of material prices. We talk about the risk of tariffs. We're talking about with our customers up front so that they're prepared for it. We like to avoid the surprises.
I agree.
Building's hard. Building's hard. It's it's an emotional process. People are trusting us for a big investment. They're planning
without a doubt
their moves, their leases, jobs, their kids' school. There's so many things that our buyers are thinking about in the process that we really don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, you don't want to plan for the best case scenario, because if that doesn't happen, then it lets everybody down, right? So it's like, hey, let's plan for what's most realistic. And if the best case happens, that's a bonus. I mean, we just dealt with probably the most rain we've had in a March and I don't know how long. And then in January, it was one of the coldest Januaries I think we've had in a long while as well. So you look at those things and you have no control of those unless you have something I don't know about, which you never know. I mean, if you could do something to control the weather and get it figured out, I think we'd all appreciate it. But I think that's the challenge, is like when you're building these houses, you don't know what's around the corner, what problem there is. So let's paint some realistic expectations. Changing gears for a second, is there any homes that jump out to you that are just like, hey, this was an awesome project? Anything that you've done in the past, and I have a couple that have jumped to mind, but any homes that, and I know you built your personal house, any homes that you're like, this is pretty cool, or like a new model that you've opened up, any houses that jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think several of the houses we did in Madeira, which they were our floor plans, but we worked with the buyers where we pivoted a little bit where each of the buyers had a particular need that challenged us to think outside the box of what we wanted to do.
Yes.
And, the houses were in each, there's three of them that are really our floor plans, but the buyer, they feel like they have a totally custom house.
Yes, yes.
And I think that the buyers were fun to work with on them. It was fun to figure out how to meet their needs without deviating too far from what we needed to do to deliver a quality house with our trades. So, and I don't want to use the names.
No, of course not.
But then we also did one, which I think was a little bit, the house was really spectacular when it was done, but I think we went too far outside of our, And I think in that one probably caused a little bit of, the house, I think they're happy with the house. I think it's a really awesome house. But I think that, but it's fun. Like the three, and I'm sure you're thinking the same three houses.
Absolutely.
Are, like I look at the pictures, we went through and had a professional photographer go through.
Oh yeah. Not only a professional photographer, but like one of the best photographer in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're really, really special houses. We enjoyed working with the buyers on those.
Well, I think that's what's interesting too, is like as a company, you're not afraid to try things and see if, meaning you're not going to obviously take a risk that the client wouldn't be on board for, but if you can find a way to deliver in a place that they want that you may not have otherwise, you'll look into it. Now you'll also be realistic to say, hey, that's us or that's not us, right? So I think that's why some of those houses have turned out so spectacular. One of which I know we get compliments on and people still bring up to us to kind of replicate, but we never try to make it that exact house because they did such a good job on there.
That was it.
So as we close up real quick, so what do you think if there's an audience member, they're considering John Henry Homes, or considering anybody, what is something that they should be asking you as a builder? What is a question that they're sitting down with at the meeting across from you, and what should they ask? What would make them have a better experience by knowing up front?
I don't think there's any single question they should ask, but the first and foremost, I think talking to existing customers, looking around at the builder's body of work, looking at the builder's time. I think but going to your main thing, what I think a lot of buyers don't do, which really surprises me, is, and I've seen, like we talked about, so many builders have come and gone. And I think a lot of buyers don't stop and ask questions about the longevity of the builder. I think if somebody's building, they're not going to build they're not going to meet David Dries or Henry Fisher, right? But if somebody's building a house from a builder that's building 40 houses or 30 houses, if they're not seeing that builder, and talking to the builder, the disconnect, like I think for me personally, one of the things I learned a lot from our customers. One of the reasons I really enjoy talking to them, and even these processes we go through, we've talked about, is by talking to the customer,
absolutely,
we get a strong sense for what they're seeing, what's the trends. For instance, we never wanted to get away from true hardwood floors. I really struggled from going to the engineered flooring.
Sure.
Because I felt the product was inferior.
Yeah.
But by talking to some customers, they knew that. They were aware of the pros and cons, but I was making the decision for them.
Yeah.
And by listening to them and being in conversation with them why they wanted it, they were aware of the pros and cons already.
Sure.
And we had a good back and forth. And so we were able to adapt our product line and the materials we were offering because I was talking to the customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if you were building a house from we're 40 to 60 houses. We've talked to almost every customer.
Yeah.
If you're not talking to the builder and you don't have a chance to meet them, I think that there's something wrong, and it actually says something about the company.
Yeah.
If you're talking, if you're building a house, if you're from a builder that's 10 houses or smaller, if you're not regularly talking to the builder, to me, there's something wrong with that. That's part of the process. I think the smaller you get, the more custom you get, the more interaction you should expect from that. Like we say, we tell people, they're not calling us. We're not involved in, they're not going to call us every day.
Sure.
But I can tell you, if there's a problem in one of our houses, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
If I need to pick up the phone and talk to a customer, if they're really upset about something, I don't mind picking up the phone to talk to them. If somebody's really pissed off about something, if they really have a problem, they can reach me or my brother and tell us directly. We're not going to run from that.
Sure.
So I think that's really the thing where I think people need to ask, going in, what to expect in their process, what the builder's involvement is going to be, who's doing what, timing, and just going in with their eyes up wide open.
That's I think it's really profound, because when it comes down to you are John Henry Homes, right? Your brother, you guys, that's your company. You guys are the focal people in there. And so not getting a chance to meet them. That's one item that I don't think people realize as much with you all is sometimes when you're coming in, you might meet with myself or my brother or Danny with some of your sales folks. But when it comes to every detail about every build that's going on. You're on calls with everybody every week. You're as involved as anybody in the job. They just might not see you initially, but you've taken a focal or a point to make sure you're connected to the deal, connected to the people. Yeah. And some of the biggest strides we've had on some of your homes to make them truly special were the client's idea that you were able to help articulate and figure out and kind of bring to life, which I think is pretty neat, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun talking to the customer, learning what they're trying to do, and finding out how, one is there's times we can talk to them and tell them why we won't do certain things, and we're able to educate them, and we're able to understand what they're trying to accommodate. What is it that's driving their desire to have a certain thing?
Sure.
And if we can find a balance of getting them what they want, without overcoming our resistance to doing it.
Sure. Still fitting into the way you do business.
But that's where having those conversations is. But it's fun. It's fun. I personally love the stories of where our buyers are coming from, especially if they're relocating. Whether it's an empty nester who is moving to be closer to their grandchildren, if it's a new family having their first kid, and this is going to be they're I think about my house where my kids grew up in it, just the memories you make in the house. It's just really fun to learn the stories of our buyers.
I think it's so right. And you do a great job with them, because I know you connect, and a lot of them are still friends and people you talk to on a regular basis. Yeah. So, well, if people are curious on how to find you, how do they find John Henry Homes? So
the best way to find us is on the internet, on our website, johnhenryhomes.com. We've got a Facebook and an Instagram. We do a better job updating the content on those. So right, yeah. But there's you also come there. We've got a couple model houses. We've got a unbelievable model house at Caravel. It's the nicest model house we've ever built. Typically, we went with constrained budgets on our models, and this one we gave the decorator we gave her free reign. We said no to nothing, and the house is absolutely spectacular. It's worth
we're swinging out
coming out to see. And the best part about this house is our decorator's husband used to be the division coordinator for our competition, whose model is 2 doors down, and she also decorated that house. And every single person who's come through our model says, hands down,
one of the best.
Ours is better than ours is better than theirs.
And what part of town is this one in?
This is Liberty Township.
Liberty Township.
The other builder is they're good friends, good people.
Oh yeah.
They're a great company, and it's.
I'll say we can end with that too, because you are connected. I mean, the builders are friends. Builders are people, as you know. You keep a really good connection point to all of these folks and get to work with them, and I think that says a lot. That to be a builder's builder is a pretty good deal, on that kind of front. It takes effort to do that, to be looked at that in that light.
Just the building community. It's a small community. Most of us know each other, and I'd say for the most part, most people in the industry really care about delivering a good quality, running a good company, and really love what they do.
Yes.
So it's a fun business to be in, and it's a fun group of people.
It is. Well, guys, so Josh Blatt again from John Henry Homes. Josh, I always appreciate the time. Look forward to lunch again. We'll go like that stuff. That's a good one.
Is that better?
I like it.
All right.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Right. Hopefully you guys saw some value here. It's really always good to get to know the people behind these homes. And again, Josh is a friend. I really appreciate you.
And just give these guys a plug. Mike and his brother, their entire team does a great job. We work with a lot of different realtors. Mike is very thorough, very detail-oriented, and does whatever. If he tells you he's going to do something,
I appreciate that.
He follows through, which it's really a pleasure for us to work with you guys.
I don't know if that's always true. You got to ask Caroline. Sometimes I think I drop the ball internally more than I do out externally.
And your dad's the best.
No, thank you.
Your dad is the best.
Yes. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Josh.